This video, we're going to look at Menno Henselmens' scale of body fat based on the DEXA readings of his clients and other people that have announced their DEXA readings and shown their pics. And we're going to try to figure out what body fat percent I am based on those things and talk about the methodology. And hopefully you'll be able to look at these pics and pick out your body fat without getting one of the very inaccurate body fat scales that I've used. Subscribe to the Linus Wilson channel. We give you diet secrets, physique secrets, and help you get the game and console that you want. And email me in the description, and if you want personalized diet coaching, I'll be happy to talk to you and give you a free consultation about the services. So I would say I just am a little bit lower than that, but I don't have the striations, of course, of the 8% guy or the 6% guy if you'd seen the 6% guy's back. So that's why I put it there. The other thing was I was using a scale, the Omron scale at that time, and it was malfunctioning. It was saying I was less than 5%. I ended up having to give away the Omron scale, which is you hold onto the handles and then you have your bare feet on the scale itself. So it's very similar to the in-body scans. I think I have had in-body scans of 8%, and sub 10% for sure. But I haven't used one of those in a while because the gym I went to that had a free scale, I don't go there anymore. But I put it into Grok what they thought this picture of me was, and it said I was 5 to 9% based on the fact that I had won in this case, I'd won the novice and the master's 40 plus category in men's physique for the local show. All right, and then this next picture is my progress picture the day that Menno's video came out. So I've been starting to do daily progress pics based on some coaches that I've been following on YouTube, and they encourage their clients to do that. So I was about 10 pounds heavier than the competition photo. Now I put this photo into Grok, which is an AI. I've heard other people have used ChatGPT. You have to pay, I think, to use. At least it told me I had to pay to use ChatGPT and upload a photo. But Grok did it for me for free. Grok said I was 10 to 15%. I would say maybe, yeah. So maybe we're in the 10% range. I still think it's a little bit better than the guy that was 10%, but definitely worse than the 8% guy. But it could be 10%, could be closer to 11%. I was 10 pounds heavier, but I was also lifting heavier. So I think my 10 plus rep for the bench press was 7% higher, and the curl machine, it was 15% higher, and the tricep extension machine was 10% higher from the Louisiana Open Championship back in May. So this is about 3 or 4 months later. So I think my strength was higher and probably my muscles were bigger. So that's possible that I could have a similar body fat to earlier if my muscle mass had increased. In both cases, I was on a slow bulk. I was on a lean bulk going into the Louisiana Open Championship. I was not trying to peak for that. And I'm currently on a lean bulk. So about a 200 calorie per day surplus. Okay, so there's Menno right there. That's his 10% shot. So you can compare his 10% shot to what I'm saying is 9% for me. I think I have a bit more vascularity than he does and a bit more definition in both those pictures than he does in his 10% pose. Okay, so here we're adding more of the shots that Menno had in his video, and to give you an idea of how much kind of the definition washes out. So I do believe the 12% guy, even though you can't really see his abs, he may not be flexing that much, but he has a lot more vascularity than even the 11%, 10, 11% guy. And as Menno points out, the lighting is pretty bad for the 12% pick, but he does look pretty lean to me. I might even put him below the 10, 11% guy. The other thing is, if you do not do ab exercises, so I do 4 different ab exercises, and I do almost daily workouts, so probably about 5 to 7 times a week if I'm in town, and maybe if I'm traveling 3 to 4 times per week, or obviously if I'm camping, I don't do anything, but if I'm camping in the woods for a week, which I was this summer, but I do a lot of ab exercises, and they're weighted ab exercises, so with less than 20 reps. So the point I'm making is that I think, for instance, that some of the guys I competed against, they may have been leaner than me, but their abs didn't show as much because they probably didn't work on abs as much as I do. That you can get your abs to pop more. To get the ravioli abs, you need to actually do weighted exercises. So the 13%, he has kind of can make out the 6-pack ish. I think if we go back to the previous one with Menno, so Menno was like, this is definitely a 6-pack. So, but notice what Menno has, right? So you can see the top outline of the bottom of the 6-pack, but you cannot see the outline of the bottom part of that. So the top of the bottom 2 you can see, but the outline. So a lot of times, so for instance, 6% guy is covering up the bottom of his belly, which hides the fact that you can't get a definition for the bottom part of the 6-pack, and maybe that's something that's well, no, but you don't really get any definition for the 8% guy, and you can't really say the 8% guy is not lean. That guy is really lean. So anyways, so a 6-pack is not that the top, at least by Menno's definition, that all 6 abs are outlined. Instead, you can see at least the top of the bottom abs, but not necessarily the bottom. Okay. And then you can see, like, by 14 and 16, there's really not any ab definition there. You're not even really seeing a 4-pack. I'm kind of surprised by that. I guess you could, maybe if 16 flex better than you could. Okay, and now we're kind of getting into the more average range of average physiques. Note the 12% guy is not flexing either, but he's got really big muscles, so maybe that's why he's not flexing. And then the DEXA scan was not used. So here's the thing, the DEXA scans are wildly inaccurate. So yes, the scales, like the in-body scale, is inaccurate. If you have a scale that doesn't have you hold on to things, it doesn't have handholds for the electrical impedance, then it's going to be terribly inaccurate. I forget which scale he said that this guy did, so it's possible that that was because it was a different scale. And Menno insisted that, the guys were well calibrated. I put originally on these slides, I would put Dr. Menno Henselman. I thought he was an academic and a PhD, but no, he does not. As far as I could tell from his website, he does not actually have a PhD, but he does have a master's, just like, as Togi refers to, goddamn Greg Doucette, who also has a master's. So, Togi's goddamn Greg Doucette, uh, so that's what Togi calls Greg Doucette, the claims that he has laser eyes, and he had a big long series where he would just like, people would pay him to do the body fat percentage guess, and then he would do videos of that. He used to do that a few years ago before he got really into the clickbaity stuff. But yeah, so uh, Doucette was the one that convinced me to start doing daily weigh-ins and put it in a spreadsheet. So I know, for instance, that I was like 181 right before the competition. I was like 191 yesterday. I do daily weigh-ins in the morning right after I pee. So it's kind of the minimum weight, least variance due to water weight because of that. So you're a bit dehydrated overnight. But there's still variance. Some nights I drink more water, some nights I drink less, that type of thing. Okay, so yeah, that 12% guy looks kind of chubby, but he also has big muscles, and you can see some veins on him, so maybe that's not a bad reading. And this is kind of the whole big thing that I would say about Menno's whole supposedly scientific study is, okay, did he show us every person that he had a body fat reading and a picture for? Or did he show us the ones that he thought made sense? And this is an important point. So I'm the author or co-author of over 50 peer-reviewed studies. Most of them are empirical research, and you need to have a coherent data collection strategy, right, for it to be a scientific study or paper, right? And so that means that you cannot just like cherry pick data that you and then call it science, okay? So if Menno is saying, if Menno has a stack of 50 pictures and 50 DEXA scan readings, and he's showing us a selection of 12 pics, 12 different pics or 20 different pics, how did he pick those 20 out of the 50? Why were they selected? Isn't it just subjective? So that's kind of the issue, I would say, is like, how do we know what it's not scientific if you cherry pick the data, okay? So I'm not saying he's wrong. And of course he's in the constraints of a YouTube video, and you're not gonna make it super scientific for a YouTube video. You're gonna try to make it pithy and whatever. But maybe you shouldn't also pretend it's like super scientific either. That it still is kind of your opinion, similar to the lineups that you see on social media or other videos that talk about body fats, that it's kind of subjective. Yes, he did have DEXA scans, but there were lots of DEXA scans and pics that he didn't show us, and so we don't know what the criteria was for the ones that he showed us. Okay, so this is the ACE. ACE is the American Council on Exercise, uh, and I guess they did this ranges based on BMIs. I'll tell you right now. So my BMI uh, at in this pick and then the other pick uh, is 20, 26, 27, which would be overweight, right? Um, so this is a common thing for bodybuilders, weight trainers, physique athletes, that your muscle mass will tend to put you in the higher ends of the BMI scale. That's why bodybuilders are obsessed with body fat percentages, because the BMI scale doesn't seem to be a good indication. So I would be classified as overweight based on my current weight and height. I'm 5'11". I weighed in 191 in the most recent pick and about 181 in the previous pick. So both would be kind of the BMI overweight scale. So 2 to 5% is essential fat, 6 to 13% is athletes, fitness is 14 to 17, average is 8 to 24, so I assume that's like overweight, and then obese is 25 plus. Okay, so we're adding kind of more, put the labels onto these. So essential fat is Wesley Vissers at the 4%, and then the athlete range is all the 6 to 13, 14%, and then that one guy is fitness with a little bit of a love handles, but he has some definition, and then average is the two guys in the bottom towards the right, and the far right guy is obese. And then we get some more obese pics of one guy that after weight loss and before his weight loss at 40%. I think Menno called him morbidly obese at 40%. And then we've got the average guys, and then we get the athletes and Wesley Vissers. All right, subscribe to the Linus Wilson channel. We give you the secrets to get the body that you want. If you want individualized coaching, send me an email and we'll talk about the services offered. Okay, talk to you later. Check out our links in the description.
Email me in the description, and if you want personalized diet coaching, I'll be happy to talk to you and give you a free consultation about the services.